This podcast is sponsored by Dis-Chem Living Fit, with a wide range of health products and supplements tailored to your needs. Whatever your needs are, whatever stage in your health and fitness journey you're in, Dis-Chem Living Fit has the products for you.
And I like with my foot, because I tore...
We'll just start.
Okay. So I tore the ligaments, tendons, and all the nerves in my foot. And then I was like, how am I going to...
How did you even do that?
Playing hockey match. I ran onto the field. I hadn't warmed up properly, so I was like, okay, well, I was late, so I ran. I ran on.
Without warming up?
Without warming up, nothing. And I said, okay, I'm sure my foot's a bit sore. You know, like when you start limping. So I stopped, and we had another game straight after that. And the thing just didn't move. Got off, and my foot was like big and purple. I thought, okay, I had... you know, like when you play sports, you get bunions on your feet.
Yeah.
So I thought I had bunions somewhere on my feet or something like that. And I went to the surgeon. They said, we'll do it's a cortisone injection and it should be fine in 6 weeks. Nothing.
And cortisone injection apparently very sore. Was it sore?
You can't do it in a hospital room anymore. You actually have to go under anesthetic.
Oh, really?
Did that. 8 weeks later, I was like, nothing's better. Went for to Evan Speechley, my physio. And he said, no, let's get a second opinion. It wasn't even 5 minutes with the specialist. And he said to me, your foot is like ruptured from one end to another.
Hectic.
Yeah, heavy. But anyway.
So that's why you're back on the training now, because you recovered.
Then I had 2 other surgeries this year as well. My health went like backwards fast. And yeah.
Tell us about the surgeries. I'm just going to pull this a bit closer.
Flip, it's a lot now. Yeah. Do you know what, actually? Do you want to know a funny story? So I went to... the gynae, they said everything was fine. I had like the endometriosis op, whatever, and then I went to a urologist, and he said to me, like, have you ever had any trauma to your body? Like, have you ever done anything funny with your body? Like,
did he mean like... Where's the endometriosis operation? Because I know it's...
by your ovaries.
Yeah. So was he meaning like any blows to that region, or was
he just said anything on your body.
So he wasn't like being like...
No.
Regional...
nothing. He just said, tell me about your life, your history. And then like I didn't really think anything of it. And I've had these issues with my like my stomach, my kidneys and stuff for years. Even when I was competing, I had... kidney stones twice, landed up in hospital, got out hospital to compete and went straight back to hospital. That's how bad it was, because I was like, I want to compete, this is what I want to do.
And kidney stones and then like doing a water drop is the worst thing.
That's how I landed up there. And they said to me, it was obviously coaches, you think everyone's great, they're not all great. And I said to the coach, whey protein upsets my stomach, like I get really bad pains in my sides. No, nothing, there can't be anything, it's whey protein. I was like, are you sure? Anyway, after that, the kidney stones was from the whey protein. They said it's over protein in your kidneys.
Yeah,
that's
you
what actually
can't process it properly.
Yeah, exactly that. Then the urologist said, like, tell me your history about your life. So I was like, well, what do you want to know? Do you know what I mean? Then I told him about, did you know I was in a big car accident? I don't know if you ever knew. Anyway, so it's 9 years this year. I was in a massive car accident on our way to the Opi Music Festival. A lot of drugs down. A lot of drugs. I hadn't slept, I think, in 10 days. Got home. My mom said to me, like, you know when your parents say to you, please don't do something, you're like, well, fuck your parents. So, like, what do they know about life?
Let me live my life, Mom.
Yeah, what do you mean? I want to go on a jaw. That's what happened. My mom sat on the end of my bed. Must I take this thing off?
That's fine. I don't care.
Okay.
If it goes off, it goes off.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I
it's all
tried to
good.
put it on airplane mode.
You're popular.
No. So my mom sat on the end of the bed and she said, Tyler, please don't go. I was like, fuck you, I'm going. What do you mean? I literally, like, the biggest crackhead that I was at the time, sat in my cupboard. I don't even know what clothes I packed. I don't even think I packed clothes. I put stuff into a bag, and she said, literally crying, like she was holding her face, like, and she's crying. And she was saying, I have such a bad feeling. Anyway, got in the car. My friends that were driving with me said, Ty, you way too fucked. You like too high, like can't, like, let's just get you sleeping pills and get you food. Got me food, got me pills. Sat down in the car, like behind the passenger seat, and I fell asleep eventually. And not even an hour later, we were in a massive car accident.
So you were asleep during the accident?
Asleep.
Yeah.
For the first time in many days.
And do you think that was better? Did
They
the
did.
doctors ever say like it was
Yes.
actually better for you that you
They
were asleep?
said actually, and you would never ever say that a doctor would tell you that drugs are actually good for your system. They said if I hadn't probably been on the amount of drugs that I was on, and I wasn't in that space, I would have died in an instant because the drugs and my adrenaline was still so high in my system from everything that I'd been doing, the like jawling, just everything. I was at such a high, and if I wasn't asleep and I was awake in that car accident, I would have been dead immediately.
That's so hectic.
Yeah, so it was hectic.
And we're going to talk into your usage and
Yeah.
everything. Was that okay? Well, actually, I want to start off. I want to go back,
Okay, we will.
and then we'll get to maybe if that was your wake up call. If not,
One
but
of.
we'll get there. One of okay. So obviously you're going to be very brave today, and thank you for that because
Sure.
the last time I had this discussion with someone who's in recovery, there were so many people that found value in it. So
Yes.
firstly, thank you for just coming in,
I'm
talking.
happy to see you again.
Yeah.
Long time.
So guys, this is Tyler.
Hello.
So if you don't know,
Yeah.
okay, so what is your first introduction to, drugs or even alcohol, or what is your first that you can remember when you were younger?
As I remember, my parents were big jawlers. They drank every day. If they were blasting, probably, I don't know. But yeah, they always jawled. I was born in the Free State, farm girl, literally Miss Innocent, little blonde, blue-eyed.
And she doesn't look like a farm girl now.
No.
Full black leather.
Full black leather, tattered to the max, yeah. But I was born on a little farm in the middle
So
of
you're
nowhere.
Afrikaans?
Full Afrikaans.
Okay. So we should be doing this interview
No,
in
we're not doing it in
Afrikaans.
Afrikaans.
No, my Afrikaans is terrible, so I
No, I
couldn't.
swear. Full Afrikaans.
That's cool.
Born on a farm in the Free State, and yeah. My mom was very young. She was 18. Also used drugs, whatever. Actually, my mom and I are in recovery today together, which is, yeah, it's amazing.
I'm sure that must, although
It's
the
hard.
reason for being there together isn't great, but the fact that you are there, I
Yeah.
think, helps.
A lot. It does. No, it does. Yeah. So I actually didn't speak to her mom for many years. I didn't she moved to Joburg, met my stepdad, who I call my dad, Kevin. He's amazing. He's like we've even got the same birthmark, same like everything. You would swear he was my real dad. And they jawled, they drank. It was like, literally as far back as I can remember, life was just a jaw. Like it was just parties and booze and music, and didn't speak English. I came from a farm and I was brought into the middle of Sandton into absolute fucking chaos. It was like, and I had sisters. I had I didn't know what to do with my life. It was
Okay, so
scary.
your mom moves from Free State. Do you move with her?
No.
Okay.
So I was raised by my grandparents. My mom used to come on weekends, and she would see me basically when she could, and she was trying to make a living here.
How old were you when you were, like, your grandparents started looking
From
after
when
you?
I was born. My
Okay.
real dad, my mom and him, I guess my mom actually lost her virginity and fell pregnant with me at the same time. And it was my dad. Well,
And was he ever in the picture?
Never.
Okay.
but
So
I'll tell
that's
you.
why your stepdad is essentially your dad.
No, he is my dad. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So then I came here and...
How
well,
old were you when you came
4.
to 4 years
yeah.
old? Okay.
Yeah. And it was like a whole new life. I had to go to Saints. I had to now fit in with all these private school people. I had no clue what was... I didn't even know how to speak English. I didn't even know how to say hello in English. So it was scary. It was very, very scary.
So your first introduction to, was it at home that you saw
Yeah,
a
home.
lot of drug usage or alcohol at least, and then, it was the norm. So then when you went out...
No, I dead honest now. I said I'll be honest, and if it's is what it is, people can be upset. But I had my first line of cat when I was 11 years old.
How does that happen? Like, what was the situation? Was it like there on the counter? Or
No,
was
it wasn't
like-
even at home. I was in school. Ended up, I was like a massive, I did really well at sports. I was an essay dancer, essay hockey player, national outdoor hockey player. I was a provincial horse rider, provincial athlete. Like for almost everything I did, I had excelled in. And I had essay indoor hockey in the tournament in Cape Town. And I was the youngest girl on the team. There was one other girl actually that was with us that I had gone to school with. and you get on a bus with a whole bunch of older oaks. You don't know any different. You see it at home, I guess. And oaks are all over you. They're like, let's do this, let's do that. I was like, okay, I'm stuck on a bus, yeah, for I think it was almost 36 hours because the bus broke down. Oaks were literally saying, I don't know if I could say it, but yeah.
So if you're okay with saying it, then say
but
it.
basically, guys were saying to me, oh, don't you want to give me a blowjob? Don't you want to do this? And I was like, fuck, everyone's old. I'm this young chick.
I'm
like,
11 years old, guys.
You're 11.
Yeah.
I was a baby. And I was like, well, okay. I was like, no at first. And then the longer we got into the bus ride, the more I'd made friends with everyone. We had got to Cape Town eventually, and everyone was drinking, and they said, don't you just want a line with us? I said, what's a line? I said, no, I have one. And I was like, but I don't even know what that is. Well, there I was with all the bunch of everyone that was older, and I said, well, give me one. And yeah, that was my first drug use. And then got home, and I'd been seeing this stuff on sports tours. I'd been seeing it out. I then got very involved in the Northgate ice rink, and that was no good story ever came out of there.
I don't know. I had some good times there.
No, we had good times,
Yeah.
but yeah. Then I started smoking weed, sort of just weed, I guess. And yeah, just life went tumbling the opposite way around.
So, starting off with Cat and being exposed to it on these tours and, having seen a lot of the people around you in all circles, doing things that, when they have done too much, you see the damage that it does to other people. You see the damage that, and the influence it has on other people. We got into that car accident, and obviously you went through so much from 11 years old till you said
17 or 18,
2014 was the car accident. I mean, you experienced so much.
A lot.
And
a lot
of scary stories and stories I'm sure that you look back at now.
Yeah.
And you're like, how did I even survive that?
Yeah, exactly that.
Do you want to maybe tell us about certain stories where you're like, God must be looking out for me or something, because how did I survive this?
No, it's literally, they say, is it cats have 9 lives or something like that? I think I've been given...
I'm just going to get a bit closer.
It's fine. No, it's fine. If they say cats have 9 lives, I think I've been given 220 lives. Do you know, I don't want to mention names because I might just get into trouble. It's not something I ever spoke about, but I was let's say fondled with by family members at 14 years old, and I'm not going to go into detail about what happened, but as a young girl, I was put in a very bad space at 14 with a family member. And after that, I never said anything. I came home. My mom said, is everything fine? I said, no, everything's fine. Went to the school counselor. I told them what happened. They said they have to tell my parents. I said, no, please don't. And literally from that day, it was I just fucking tumbled. Like I didn't know what to do. I didn't say anything. I refused to say anything. In fact, I only actually told my parents. So I'm sober now, 2 years and 1 month tomorrow.
Congrats.
And I only told my mom and dad what had happened 2 years ago for the first time when I went to I'd been to rehabs my whole life, but this was the first time I actually came out and said I was fucked. Like, this is what happened. This was my life. And I think it made things a lot clearer for a lot of people. So after that, I just started using like there was no tomorrow. I started drinking, using. I couldn't understand why if somebody loves you, they can do that to you. And it just never made sense in my brain. Like I could never, ever, ever understand it. And I think to be very honest, a lot of my life, I wasn't loved. I know that I'm a good-looking girl, and I let Oaks take advantage of me because, well, my first encounter of someone touching me was somebody I thought who loved me. So my whole life, maybe I didn't know what love was. I didn't know what compassion was. And I let Oaks take advantage. I let people do what they want. I was always the people pleaser. And I think that's why I jawed as hard as I did. Because if I did, how do you say no? Do you know what I mean? It was, it's the jaw. Why would you say no? Until I eventually took a stand and said, I'm doing it for me this time. And that's what actually got me, right. I had to hit rock bottom. Like, I almost died in that car accident. And I dated the thugs. I've been with everyone. I'm coming from a blonde, blue-eyed Afrikaans farm girl to someone who looks like they've just come out of a rock band. I'm tatted from head to toe. I've been there. I've done it. So it's like a 360, but I'm here. And it's, that's.
Well, it's amazing that you made that 360. And, going back to, the family stuff, I think it's 1 in every 3 people, someone in their family might be a pedophile or potentially is a pedophile or has some sort of proclivity that's obviously illegal.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think as humans, everyone's got this persona that they put out into the world. And then, behind closed doors, like their shadow self is a completely different person.
Different.
You could see this amazing judge, but then she goes home and is DMing gym guys to get their sweaty underwear.
Yeah, 100%.
Like it's ridiculous actually it's like 2 sides of a coin sometimes. And the further those, that they oppose each other, the more unhappy people are.
Well, I think that's 99% of society today. No one's actually who they are out there. No one. Well, and if you are, well, good for you. Do you know what I mean? But you've competed. You're a good-looking boy. I'm sure. No, I'm saying.
I've never been told that.
But you are. You did it young. You've been there. You've got the titles, and I'm sure you also sometimes say to yourself, "I'm not." You know what I mean? You don't always feel 100%.
Yeah, no, and I think imposter syndrome is such a big thing in society, regardless of what even if it's like a small achievement or if it's, being given an opportunity, it's, I'm not deserving of this because you actually, your darkest thoughts. You
100%.
know all the fears, all the disgusting thoughts, all the perverted thoughts or whatever that you might have.
Yeah.
You have them and So when
100%.
you get given something that is good or is, slightly above the norm, you start to, feel like, do I deserve this?
Yeah, 100% that.
And is that, some of it in terms of, that encouraged the addiction was like, I'm not deserving of happiness, of love.
Well, yeah, especially when that's been done to you at such a young age. I was ripped away from my family, who I thought was my family. I then had all this stuff happen, and you don't actually ever know what it is. You don't. In fact, still to today, I know people love me. I know I have friends. I know that I can turn to anyone, but sometimes you don't have that, and you don't actually. You know they're there, but are they really there? Do you know what I mean? And it is that. Yeah. That's the truth. There are people. And I think it comes down to also who do you actually say something to. Society and people are so fucked today because I come and say to you, Jessie, I'm struggling. I'm hard, so I actually can't just do it anymore. Jessie's like, ooh, gossip. I'm going to go tell my friend. This is how chicks are. This is how guys are. There's not many people that you can go to and honestly say, I'm sad, I need help, without it being a saga or someone saying, oh, look how fucked Tyler is today. Do you know what I mean? And that's what society's become. And unfortunately, I think that's why they are, and I'm not saying suicide's right and I'm not saying suicide's wrong, but why some people just can't do it anymore. And I was at that stage 2 years ago. I did try to commit suicide. I thought I didn't want to do it anymore. I knew I could call 100 friends. I knew I could call my family. But did I want to do it? No, I didn't. I wanted it over. And unfortunately, sometimes when you hit that rock bottom in such a sad place in your soul, there is nowhere to turn. And I think a lot of that's got to do with what you're saying, the compassion, the happiness. If you're really that happy and that loved and had that much compassion from people you thought cared, you wouldn't feel like that. And that's unfortunately where change in your life comes from. Like, are you going to change? And it was actually funny because I was at a meeting last night, and the topic was change. And I've been thinking about it, and the whole thing is about, are you really actually going to change for them or for you? And I had to do that. Yes, I wasn't given the choice. Did I want to change 2 years ago? And I would never in a million years today say that yes, then I was fighting it. But today, would I change it for the world? No, I wouldn't. I've never been happier. I've never felt better. I've never, ever, ever, ever been able to tell my story. And today when I tell my story, it helps so many people. And I think that's what makes me happy. Like the amount of girls that come to me, guys that come to me and say, but how were you so fucked? Like, you're a crystal meth addict. How you smoke crack every day? Like, but how is that you? You're a model now. You run a successful business. You work for a big brand. Like, how can the two people be the same? And it's about change and who you want to change. You're not changing for other people, you're changing for yourself. And I think when people can realize that they've got to change for themselves and not for others, that's when real change happens. Like, I'm not going to change for Jessie. I'm not going to change for my mother. I'm changing because fucking Tyler wants to change. I want to change because I want to be happy. I don't want to change because someone else wants to be happy. If I'm trying to make someone else happy, I'm never going to find happiness in myself. And that's what it is. Like, if you can't do it and you can't help someone else do it, well, it becomes a tough game.
And, going through those difficulties and challenges and lows and extreme lows in your life have brought you to the person that you are. You wouldn't have been the person you are without those experiences.
No. And I don't regret any of it. People will often say to me, do I regret, I don't know, smoking crack, doing crystal meth, I don't know, all these. No, I don't. I don't have one regret in my life. Do I regret fucking around? No, I don't. Do I regret dating certain people? No, I don't. I don't hate anyone. I don't have regrets. I used to. In fact, if I look about 2-3 years ago, yes, I did. I hated a lot of people. A lot of people. I had so many resentments against people. Even the family member that did what they did to me, I hated them. I was like, how can someone do that? And today, I genuinely can't say I hate. Yes, there's people out there that I don't like. But I cannot turn around and say that I wish on my worst enemy or somebody that I hope they die or they wish like unhealth on them or something. No, I don't, because unfortunately, it's life. If you hate everyone, you're going to be unhappy yourself.
And I think you've been in those positions where you've, been so close to just giving up that you know the terrible, mind, the state of mind you're in or the state of health or whatever.
Yeah.
That you've experienced it and you know how bad it is, that you don't want to wish that on anyone.
No. And it is. Like, I think if there's anything I can say recovery's taught me is that. Like, a lot of people, there's the 12 steps that you have to follow, and there's all different things. Like the first few steps teach you certain things, the next few teach you about yourself, and then the next few is a means to certain people in your life and whatever. And one of the steps is resentments against people and things and whatever. And even when I did it, everyone was like, oh, this is going to be so hard. This is going to be like, step 4 kills you. Step 4 is so hard. And I genuinely didn't find it hard. Because it's the first time I could let go and say, you know what, I'm letting go. I've put it down on a paper, what's happened, whether it's my mom, my dad, people, places, things, anything. Do I have a resentment? I don't. And the day I wrote that stuff down on that paper, I was like, almost like a world just lifted off my shoulders. And different times of your life, you have different things you resent or hate or want to change, but it literally opened a whole new, world. And even today, like, I go back to the steps every day. I know what works, and I never, ever, 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 ever want to ever even say that I want to look at a drug again. Like, that's how much hate I have to it. I don't even touch painkillers. Like, that's how bad it is. Like, I won't even touch a painkiller. I won't, because that's how much I hate that stuff. Yeah.
What you say, the getting over the resentment, you were able to do it.
Yeah.
What was the most difficult thing throughout, the AA process? Obviously, the addiction part is one, like, kicking the addiction. But what other aspects, like the forgiveness or the, trusting in a higher power, or like, what for you was the most difficult thing to get your head around, like within the 12 steps, let's say?
Finding a higher power. And it's so hard because they refer to God. It doesn't mean that everyone has the same God. And that was something I never understood. I used to say, but I don't go to church every Sunday. I'm not this massive Christian person. I wasn't growing up like that. So I'm not. So my biggest thing was to actually turn around and say, well, who is my higher power? What is my higher power? And that's the biggest thing. And still today, I do believe there is a higher power. It's God, yes, but it's not. You understand, your God and my God are two different people. So, and maybe somebody else's God to my God's a different person. And I pray every day, and prayer and stuff has actually saved me more than anything. Like, and I never, ever, ever, ever thought a day in my life that I would pray and say I believe in God. Whether it's your God or my God or the God of your understanding, I never, ever, ever thought I'd do that. And it genuinely has saved me. That, and to remind myself of what a mess I was. Like, if I even think of going backwards, I just have to remind myself, like, I was completely powerless and unmanageable, and that's the reason that I'm here.
Do you have to sometimes, go deep into that remembrance, because sometimes you might not think it was as bad as what it was?
You have to go deep. You got to dig deep, and this is a conversation I have with a lot of people. If you don't dig deep, you're never fixing it. It's like there's layers to your skin, your body, your soul. If I keep saying I'm happy here, but I'm unhappy here, and I'm not fixing here. In fact, I was having this conversation with my best friend 5 minutes ago, and I was saying to her, if you're not her because she's got a problem, but we were talking about something, and I was saying, if you cannot fix it deep down inside, you'll never be fixed on the outside. And that's why I can speak about it now. 2 years ago, I'd never have spoken about it. I would never say a word. Mm. And now I will say it because, yes, I've healed. Not to say that it never runs through my head. It's there. It's very much there. And that's what, there's certain triggers in your life that will bring those things up. But can I honestly say that I don't care about it? No, I don't. I've worked through it. I know what hurt me. I know what things will hurt me. I know when they hurt me. I know what triggers those hurts. And that's really the big recognition of recovery and my recovery.
How do you go about, digging that deep? Like, is it just like true self-reflection where you like really just sit down and like journal?
Yes.
Or?
So I journal every day. Obviously there's some days I don't. I travel a lot. So there are some days I don't, but I read, I've got like the big book I read, I journal. I've got a app on my phone called 10 Step, and I write everything there. And in those things, a lot of them, and you have to be completely honest with yourself. It says to you, have you lied today? And people will say, I've never lied, but lying it can be the smallest thing.
Lie. Sorry, I don't have money to give the guy begging on the street. That's a lie.
100%. So in those, though, that journaling and the reflection of yourself every day, have I lied? Yes, I lied to the cleaner, I couldn't take her home. Or yes, I lied that I didn't want milk when I actually wanted milk. That's a lie.
I didn't give you milk in your coffee. I'm so sorry.
No, but I'm saying.
No, I'm joking.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, exactly.
Is I actually really, really want a sweet today, but I know I want steak. That's a lie. That at the end of the day is you being unhonest to yourself, or dishonest, sorry is the word, to yourself. Did I upset someone? Was I selfless today? Those are things, and you've got to be honest, because if I every day go and say, no, I didn't lie, I'm not selfless, you're bullshitting yourself at the end of the day. It's
you're
not
kidding
Jessie.
yourself.
Yeah, you're not reading it. I'm the one doing it every day. So I can lie to myself as much as I want, but unfortunately lying to myself is getting me nowhere.
Yeah, you're just kidding yourself at the end of the day, and there's no point.
So it is, and I read over them. Like, even after I'll like journal and night, I'll be like, fuck, okay, actually, that was so stupid. Or you got upset about something so stupid. Like, is it really worth your serenity and your anger? No, it's not. And that's what helps you in recovery, because there are a lot of demons. There are a lot of demons I fight daily, and I'm sure a lot of other people do. But if you don't hit those demons on the head, you'll never, ever win.
And in terms of finding replacements, because I know, fortunately, I know. So I was having this thought the other day, and I was thinking, if I didn't have the parents that I did, that raised me the way they did, I absolutely, without a doubt, would have been in a ditch somewhere.
Yes.
Like, I know my personality, even with my amazing parents and how I was raised and the school I went to, I've still got addictions, maybe not to drugs, but to certain things that are not healthy at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And I know that it could have been so much worse.
Yeah, 100%.
And sometimes, like, let's say, almost every single person on earth got an addiction to sugar. That's
sugar.
Fact. But then I try to replace maybe, let's say, sugar with sweetener.
Yes.
For you, obviously, at a greater level, replacing cat with something else. Like, what for you? As you found something, be it exercise, be it reading, be it what have you seen that like
replaces it?
That you've tried to replace in a healthy way?
So I'm a bit of an extremist. I'm like very black and white. So if I start training, I want to train excessively. I want to compete. If I decide I'm gonna do art, I want to become an artist and I must go on a billboard. So I'm like very black and white. So it is hard. It's extremely hard. And I go through phases. Sometimes, like at the moment, I want to train again. So I'm not doing it all out. Do you know what I mean? But I also just try to be around good people, soulful people. I started cycling, but I had my foot up. I try to replace it with different things. I get bored extremely easily. So I'll start a course and then I won't finish it. So I try and keep myself busy. But I travel a lot. So like I see a different country every 2-3 months of the year. I see the whole of South Africa. I travel almost every week to second week in South Africa. So I see a lot of things. So I don't really get bored easily. But I would say that the biggest and the hardest thing is I do dual. I go to clubs. I go to festivals. I live my life to the fullest. And a big question I get a lot of the time is, how do I do it? And that's, I think, more replacement is, how can I have a social life and how do I live the life I do being sober?
How do you expose yourself to those situations, the clubs, the festivals, and obviously we all know, anyone who's been to a festival, you see drugs
everywhere.
How do you manage that?
Actually, a funny thing is, when I was in the rehab, you go through different skills and techniques of what reminds you of certain things and whatever. And my biggest thing was to remind myself of what a mess I am. So if I do feel funny, I look at back to step one, which is being powerless and unmanageable. And I've got a note on my phone and I go and read of why I shouldn't do certain things. But I'm so headstrong and I know how much I hate drugs that I would literally, you couldn't pay me 10 million rand to have a line. Literally, you couldn't do it. So I'm so headstrong in what I believe now and that how fucked I was, that I would never, ever, ever, ever go back. And I think it's hard for a lot of people because some people aren't at that stage. Some people believe that they'll never be able to jaw again, or they'll never be able to be in society again. But you've got to come to a stage within yourself and your true self, not your outer self that everyone sees on Instagram and Facebook, to why should I stop living my life? I'm 27, I'm a baby. So there's no reason I shouldn't be living my life. And it's not to say that people will judge and say, okay, but why do you want to go on a jewel? Like, you can go cycling. Well, I want to go on a jewel. I like music. I like having a dance. I like people. So I've just become extremely, extremely headstrong in myself and what I know that I will never, ever, ever do again.
Well, the fact that you are able to put yourself in that position and subject yourself to seeing it and still abstain from it is more impressive than someone that maybe I don't have any sweets in my cupboard, because if it's there, I will have it.
100%.
So it's more impressive to be exposed to it.
Yeah, it's hard.
And then not give in. It's extremely difficult.
It's fucking hard.
Yeah.
And all my friends drink. I don't have many sober friends. My friends all drink and stuff, but it is. And in the beginning, a lot of people say, oh, fuck, you being like a chick, wah, 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 wah. And now people actually are more proud of someone being sober than what they are there being on the dance floor vomiting your lungs out.
Yeah, well, I mean, at the end of the day, most people, you're so in the competing space where you'd go out and you'd say, no, sorry, I've got a show, whatever, I can't drink.
Yeah.
And people judge you.
No, they do
for
judge you.
not doing it.
Yeah, 100%.
So
why can't you have a cheeseburger? Well, because I'm competing. Yeah.
So I mean, the fact that, obviously if they're unaware of your previous addiction, then they might judge you.
Yeah.
But I think people that obviously know of it and they say like, good for you actually for being able to do this. I'm not an addict and I can't even be sober at a jaw.
Yeah, it's hard.
Like it's
hard.
How can people judge you,
Yeah, it's hard. And I think actually now that you mentioned competing, I've competed 9 times and whatever. And maybe there is a sort of a discipline that I learned in those times that I haven't even consciously realized that that's also a part of the discipline that I've put into my life now, because competing is not easy either. So maybe there is a something that sort of has something in common with discipline and whatever. But no, I don't. I legit don't care what people do around me. People could be doing anything. And addiction's not just booze and drugs. There's porn, there's sugar, there's shopping, there's Instagram, there is so much stuff that you can be addicted to, and people don't even realize it. And that's the problem.
Modern day addiction is maybe not going to, actually, I don't want to say it won't affect your health because obviously sugar will.
Yeah.
But social media can affect your health
Completely.
terribly. It can completely ruin you. And people don't think that, it's because I'm not sniffing a line, but I'm sitting on Instagram 24/7 or I'm doom scrolling on all these comments 2 a.m, that my addiction is more healthy than the drug addict's addiction, when it's not.
It's really not. I can probably see now the drug addict's probably happier than scrolling around Instagram because they're at least still fucking living their life.
And people will then like protest and be like, no, but it's not affecting other people. Because like, let's say the drug addict aspect might affect family, but the person that's doom scrolling, maybe they're super isolated. They don't experience family. They don't see family, or all they do is just be negative
100%.
when they're around those people. So you're still affecting people. Every addiction in some way
100%.
affects people around you, affects your health,
100%.
affects everything. And I think the biggest thing that 99 or almost every single human on earth suffers from is addiction to sugar.
Biggest one. In rehabs, you're actually not allowed tea, coffee, because tea and coffee is an addiction, believe it or not.
No, I'm not heavily addicted to coffee.
Yeah, I don't drink coffee anymore. I'll have like 8 coffee a day. I used to drink 6 cups of coffee a day, but I don't drink like major cups of coffee a day anymore.
Why is that? Is that just because like if you're able to...
No, it made me feel sick.
Okay, so it's not like if you're able to give into your cravings for coffee, you could potentially give into cravings for something else.
But actually, funny that you mentioned that. So after all these ops this year, I was given painkillers. And a few weeks ago, I was like fucking out. I was going like full psycho, like as in I felt like I was back in active addiction. And I was like, I can't figure out what is going on with me. Like everyone knows I'm fucking out and everyone... I can't understand, no one else can understand, and I literally had to go back to basics, steps, journaling, what am I doing, my everyday routine, and eventually I worked out that it's actually just plain old panada that was making me go fucking dilly. And then I had to remind myself I'm actually an addict at the end of the day. Whether it's panada, whether it's sugar, whether it's exercise, unfortunately it's a part of me now, and I can't go back and now say, okay, well now I must change it. Addiction is almost everything in different aspects of your life. It's how you choose to balance your life at the end of the day. So, yeah, I realized it was the painkillers making me a bit moggy.
And because addiction's not linear. Well, recovery at least isn't linear. It's not like the steady climb where every year it gets easier and easier and easier.
Definitely not. Probably
so it's
gets
not
harder.
like you better now at 2 years than you were at 1 year.
Never.
Like, or you'll be better at 10 years. Like it just doesn't work
and
like
you have
that.
different demons at different times. What I thought 2 years ago was my biggest demon is a completely different demon today. So, and that's why the biggest thing in recovery is they say 1 day at a time or 1 step at a time, 1 second at a time. You've literally, if I try to predict what I'm going to feel like tomorrow, I'm not going to be able to predict it. And you've got to take it 1 step at a time. If it's every second, every minute, every half an hour, every hour, that's sometimes how I get through my days because I'm like, I actually don't know if I want to face tomorrow. And that's legit how I get through it because something's got to help. Like I can't give up again. So how did I do it in the beginning? Because where I was 2 years ago was the most unhappy place in my whole life. Not because of anyone around me, but myself, I was unhappy. So how did I do it then? And I can't do it now when I'm sober. So different demons eat you every day. Different triggers come up in your life. Different things happen in your life every day that you have to face. And sometimes they're harder than the original source of... Sometimes it's a lot harder. So, yeah.
You said, you had to make the decision for yourself, not for anyone else. 2 years ago, what brought about this decision?
So I was in a happy relationship and whatever, and I just think that I had let go. We were jawling a lot, and it's not to say he, me, us, friends, anyone. We jawled. We were young. We had fun. And every time I drank, I just got worse. And I never had dealt with anything. I refused to go see a psychologist. Like, I don't need that. I don't need this. I don't need meds. I went on the meds. Eventually, I started seeing someone. I didn't see them consistently. So I saw once in a blue moon. Then I'd see my psychiatrist. Then I'd forget. Then I'd cancel. I went on meds. And then they made me feel terrible. So I stopped.
What?
Like antipsychotic meds. So... it was supposed to balance you and whatever, and they made me feel terrible. I was like a zombie half the time. I had
How
no
do you
feeling.
feel about medication like that? In your personal experience?
I don't like it. I probably should be on meds but I see a life coach every week, and if I see my life coach, I journal, I follow the steps, I can manage it. So I don't want to take something that changes me for me. I am me. I'm outspoken. I'm loud. Anyone who knows me knows me.
Yeah.
The second I go on that stuff, I'm not me anymore.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. I wasn't me anymore. I'd become like this sheltered person that was hiding everything. And I just wanted out. I was unhappy. I just wanted out. I had gone to see a friend. She said, let's have a glass of wine. I was like, oh, fuck it. I'm going to have a glass of wine. And I'd been sober for quite a while, 9 months. So what's a glass of wine going to do? Well, it's never one drink. It's 1,000. Ended up having tequilas, ended up having drinks, then wanted to blast. Got home and just said I want out. Wrote suicide letters to my sisters, my mom and my dad. And I just took a whole bunch of shit and said I wanted out. Thank God I had told my mom how I was feeling. My mom got there. Ambulance came. My boyfriend at the time was away. I went to the hospital and I had to have a serious conversation with him. And is it time to change? And basically, they said to me, this is the last thing. I was on the verge. My boss had said to me, I'm losing my job where I'd been for a long time. My boyfriend had said to me, he doesn't want to be with me. He wants nothing to do with me. My parents wanted nothing. And eventually I was like, I don't want to go to rehab, but I'll do it because I'm just going to make the family happy. And after a few days of being there, I had realized that I wanted to change, that I didn't want to be that person. I didn't want to be destructive. I didn't want to be this psychopath how everyone knows me. And it's sad because a lot of people, even today, I'll meet them and they'll be like, you have no idea how hard I used to jaw or how crazy I was. And it's actually quite disgusting when I hear that from people. Obviously, it is who I was, and I've changed now. But it's disgusting to hear it. It's off-putting to hear that that's the person I was.
I think, so you were meaning people will tell you how you used
Still
to party.
today, people are like, oh, you have no idea how crazy she is. She's so cool. And it's not cool. There's nothing cool about it. It's disgusting. And I find it quite sad, or let's say how many girls and boys and people today think it's cool. Yes, have a drink. I'm not saying don't drink. I'm not saying don't do drugs. Do what you've got to do, but do it in moderation. Have a drink and have good time. I'm not saying you mustn't do it. But I find a lot of people today, or society today, you have to drink to get fucked. You have to vomit. You have to, like, if you take a pill, you have to be like drooling for 4 days. It's there to have fun. You're not there to do it to become this piece of shit and lie on the floor.
I think the biggest thing, I'm not against drinking or anything.
Yeah.
But the moment you do it to escape, then it's a problem.
And you can't control it.
Yeah. If you are going out because it's your friend's birthday and you have a few drinks because you're having a good time with your mates, cool.
Yes.
But if you are going out to get absolutely
Motherless,
wasted because you are unhappy with yourself, then that becomes the issue. When you're trying to escape, when you say like, no, reality is not fun, I don't want to be in the right state of mind.
Yeah.
Then the unhealthiness or the non-cool aspect of it comes in, where it's like, it's not cool to try escape life.
Yeah. And a lot of people I don't think realize they're trying to escape reality. I think people only realize it when they have a partner or someone close to them that says, why every time you drink do you become like this? And then maybe it wakes up saying, but a lot of people will tell you, oh, I'm perfect, I'm fine. No, you're not fine.
I think the person that says they're fine
are not fine.
And the person that says they're not fine is at least self-aware enough to also know they're not fine. Because no one is fine, regardless of how well they have it together. That person there that looks like they've got it all is as not fine as
100%.
You or I sitting here.
Well, it's actually funny because like I did a photo shoot, about a month ago, and I was like just looking at the pictures and whatever, and then I was looking at social media, and I can't remember, I was talking to one of my guy friends and they said, how come all chicks look the same? And I was like, what do you mean all chicks look the same? Like, it can't be that all chicks look the same. We started playing around with these apps and I was like showing them how it is, and it's unrealistic of what people are portraying, who they are versus what they not are, or what they're not. Yeah. Like, there is no girl in this world, unless you have fuck tons of money, that looks like a Barbie doll every day of her life. There isn't a girl out there that is perfect. There isn't a boy out there that is perfect. And if it was like that, well, then everyone would be fucking happy, wouldn't they? So it comes back to what people are portraying on Instagram and Facebook and who they are. I'm mishappy. I'm perfect. No, you're not perfect, because you wouldn't be editing your photo to that 10th degree that when you meet you in real life, you've never actually seen who you even are.
Yeah, and that's the kind of the trap you get into. It's, I need to edit this photo to look great. Then you're upset when people meet you and then you're not what you portrayed yourself as.
Yeah.
And then you blame the person that's not happy with how you look.
100%.
When you're the reason that they're not happy because
100%.
you're showing something that's different.
Even with like me, people will be like, like your Instagram shows this now, or you look like a certain person, but you're a drug addict. Well, what do you want me to go put a picture of me blasting a line of coke on my Instagram? No, I'm not going to go do that. I'm portraying who I am now, but I'm not going to go and put everywhere. I put recovery posts because I know it helps people. I do what I do. I put my stuff on social media like it is, but I'm not going to go and put my worst nightmare on there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
So a lot of people say, but how can you be the same person? Well, I'm portraying now what I'm happy, but I'm not being fake. I'm not saying, I'm putting there, I'm being hard, ruthless. I'm saying I was down in a ditch, but I think there's so many people that are hiding behind these masks of reality versus what they're seeing and what they're showing people. Like if I'm sad, people know I'm fucking sad. If I'm pissed off, my office knows it. Like my mom knows it. My best friend knows it. They're the first people I phone. If I'm fucking out, I'm fucking out. Like it is what it is. There's no human being here that doesn't get sad. There isn't a person that is happy 24/7. It's unrealistic. And that's what the social media and these fake masks and stuff are showing people today, because it's not true.
And as humans, I think we always want to portray our best selves, or show people our best selves, and that's the same as when we're talking about like the shadow self and you're the real self that you portray. The people that are most unhappy are the ones that show their real selves the least, and the person that has to maybe edit their photo the most, or when they travel, take 1 million photos and make sure that people see it, or make sure that people see what car they drive, or make sure people see what handbags they have, or make sure they see shoes. And it's all just for other people.
100%.
And in doing so, you expect to make yourself happy.
Yeah.
But you're never going to make yourself happy if that's your measure of your happiness, is what other people perceive you as.
No, 100%. And it's like, how many people, it's terrible, but I actually don't care. It's like people will see a girl with a Louis Vuitton bag or a Gucci bag. You cannot tell me that 90% of society is walking around with a real Louis Vuitton bag. I buy fake bags. And if somebody asks me, I tell them straight it's fake. Who cares at the end of the day? Sometimes you'll see these people that say they only do this and they travel like that. You've never worked a day in your life, but you're trying to portray someone you're not. That's not who you are. Like reality and society and everything just becomes so blurred. And yes, I travel a lot. I post pictures. I do it all. I put it there. But I'm not going to go and if someone asks me if something's fake or did I pay, if someone else paid for it, I'm going to say yes. Like if I go on a lot of trips overseas, and yes, the company does pay. But that doesn't mean that I don't buy my own things when I'm there. It doesn't mean that I can't afford to go on a holiday to Cape Town.
But
you know
I mean,
what
you're working for a company who's
an international
paying.
company.
Who would say, nah, I don't want to go.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys are paying.
But then you'll get the 70 people out there that are saying, oh, you see this chick, oh, OnlyFans, or this doll doing that. Some people really are just, they've changed. Their life's a bit better now. Do you know what I mean? And it's,
but also the people that are like, see you travel, and they'll say, she must be, I don't know, some guy must have paid for her, or
she's
something
an escort,
like that. If you have the time to be sitting there looking at Tyler's Instagram and think, how does she afford to get there? Or how is she always traveling? You need a life.
Most people who sit on Instagram all day need a life.
You need purpose. You need something to keep you busier than sitting on the couch and judging people that are living their lives.
No, agreed. And that's why, like, even I posted about my 2-year thing. I was never honest. And then I posted about my 2-year, a month ago. And I had so many messages of people saying, like, how brutally honest I was and how like, can I help them? And it's hard. I've done a few talks with girls and at meetings and stuff, and it does help people. But if I go and sit there and say that I was never a fuck up or I can't help someone else, well, I wouldn't have posted it. I did it for a reason. If I can help someone else, I was able to come right, and so can anyone else, actually, at the end of the day. If you want it bad enough and you wanna be your best self, you can do it. And that literally, it makes my heart so happy when I see like a girl message me and say she's been clean, or a girl that says she's got out of a toxic relationship, or like somebody who says I got a message to say she's paid for her first trip to Cape Town. That was her dream. That's what makes me fucking happy. Like, if I can help someone to just be honest and move forward in their life, or come out and be proud of themselves, it's amazing, because it's so fake out there, and it's so ruined of what reality is, that I don't care what I say anymore. Like, I legit don't care. I don't care. And if you get upset, well, get upset with yourself. I don't care. I've helped the next girl, and they'll help the next person, and the next person will help the next person. And that's the beautiful thing about it. Like, if I can help that next girl or guy or anyone in their life, it's a beautiful thing to pass on the message.
What is like that first step in terms of, trying to get your life right? What would you suggest in terms of your experience, regardless of the severity of the addiction?
I get this question a lot, and I was actually waiting to do this with you so I could actually answer it, because I've got a lot of people asking me that. You have to be brutally honest with yourself at the end of the day. And if you don't want to change, you're not going to change. But the biggest thing to take that step is to know that you actually cannot do it anymore. You cannot survive and you've hit rock bottom. Like, if I look left, right, straight, back, down, I actually have nowhere to go. I'm in a complete black hole, and I cannot get out of it. And that's the first step, to say that I'm completely powerless and unmanageable over my addiction. And like I say, addiction doesn't mean it's booze or drugs. It can be depression, it can be porn, it can be sugar, it can be absolutely shopping, it can be anything. You have to now come out and say, I actually cannot do it anymore. Like, why do I feel that I cannot do it anymore? You've got to be brutally, brutally honest with yourself and say, I'm fucked. Like, I need to now get out this hole, and what's going to bring me out of that? Another drink, another line is not going to bring me out of that, unfortunately. The only person who's actually going to get you out of that dark hole is yourself. Your mom's not going to do it. Your dad's not going to do it. Your sponsor's not going to do it. Your life coach isn't going to do it. The only person who can do that is yourself. And that's what you've got to look at. Am I really that unhappy? And like, I do this thing a lot. I'm sure a lot of people know it, or you've heard of it. It's like a pros and cons thing, and I write down the pros and the cons of certain things I want to do and what I don't want to do. Like, is it going to benefit me or is it not? And take the list of what the most positives are and the negatives, and come to a conclusion. And a lot of times, maybe that's a way for people to look at it. Like, am I really that unmanageable? Is my relationship fucking out? Do I have my family? Where are my friends? Is my work okay? Or am I actually fine and I just love having a drink? Maybe then you don't have an addiction. But it's to be brutally, brutally honest with yourself and say you're unmanageable in your life. Because unmanageable means you're not going to work. You're fucking up. You're jawling. You having sex with random people. You flirting with people. Your life's just completely unmanageable from one end to the next. I'm eating out of control. I'm not going to gym. I am going to gym. You have to look at every aspect of your life and just say, I cannot do it anymore. And that is the hardest part, is to be truly, truly honest with yourself. And that's what recovery is being completely honest with yourself. And that's what a lot of people can't do. And I think that's why a lot of people can't get past the first step, because they actually can't admit that they have a problem. They can't admit that they need to get out that black hole. And other people are saying, mom and dad saying you got to get out the black hole, but you yourself don't see that you're in a black hole. So the day you realize that you're in that black hole and you want to get out it for you and not for mom and dad or sister or brother or partner, that's when your life will change or start to change. But you've got to want it. No one's going to tell you to do it. People, a lot of the time when we put in rehabs and they say, my parents told me I have to be here. Well, your parents told you to be here, you don't want to be here, so you're not going to change. And a lot of the time, those people will finish their programs, they'll go out and do the same thing because they're not doing it for them. They're doing it because someone told them to be there. And I did it. I've been to a few rehabs. Every other time I went to rehab, I've done it because my parents told me. My parents told me. My sisters told me. They all told me to do it. The first time I actually wanted to change was this last time, and I wanted to do it because I wanted to be different. Not because everyone else was telling me. Yes, they told me I have to do it. But I had to honestly say to myself, I actually want to change. So they push you a bit, but then when you're sitting there, the only person who can help you get out of that is yourself. No one else. No one else is going to do it. So that's the first step, is admitting that you have a problem.
Sorry.
No, it's fine.
I was right into the mic. And you mentioned porn addiction. I think there's so many people that suffer from that.
A lot.
And I was listening to a podcast with Terry Crews the other day.
Yeah.
And, he was talking about his addiction to porn. And I think that's also, there's certain addictions like sugar, porn, ones where you can do it more behind closed. Obviously, you can do drugs behind closed doors, but,
Yes.
Porn, those kind of things where it's like, well, it's not that serious.
No, it is serious.
You know what I'm saying? You think to yourself, it's not that serious. Who am I affecting by this? I'm not out in society. I'm doing this by myself.
That's
sitting
the
on the
worst
couch
ones.
and eating 10 million McDonald's burgers or whatever. Who am I affecting? And, I think I would definitely say males are more affected by porn addiction than females. Definitely, there obviously are going to be women that are affected. But I think just the male psyche would be more inclined to go that route.
Yes.
And fortunately, I've never been one that's enjoyed porn at all.
Well, thank God.
and I don't know why. Well, I do know why. Maybe it was probably just more how
it's a blurred reality.
It is.
No one's going to fuck you in your ear and up your nostril.
Yeah, and I think it creates that healthy, unhealthy aspect, those thoughts or the notions of what you think sex might be like.
100%.
And then you do have a sexual encounter or whatever.
And it's not that.
It's not that, or you're impotent or something because you can't get aroused because it's not the porn, and it's terrible. And I don't think people talk about it enough. No.
In fact, a guy I was mates with not too long ago, or I've known him for many years, we were out at dinner, whatever, and he was showing something on his phone, and he claims to be all straight and all whatever, and the little, like the little tabs that come up on your I've never spoken to him again since that day, so he can say what he wants, was all these gay porn subscriptions. And I was like, what? I was like, I still phoned my best friend, and I was like, am I wrong? And she was like, no, I don't think you are wrong. And it was like gay subscriptions to do like all these webcamming. And he's an extremely good looking oak. He's extremely successful. And when I saw that on his phone, I was literally horrified. And him as a person's a fuck person. He knows he's like in a bit of a hole and whatever. But I don't think people realize that the person sitting next to you can be so addicted to something that you have fucking no idea about.
And, I mentioned earlier, because he's having to hide that, he's probably severely unhappy because of how he has to pretend he isn't what he actually is, beneath the surface.
Well, porn's a scary thing, I think. And I've met a lot of porn stars. When I did Playboy in 2016. I met a lot of porn stars along there. And I always used to ask these questions. I was like, is it as fun as it looks on videos? Is it like this? Is it like that? And a lot of what you hear and what you think porn is, I think, is two very different things. But it's not realistic. It's not, on videos, it's not a video of them shagging for an hour. That it's like any reel or any video that's made up. It's made up of the best parts. That is not the entire. They don't just put a camera up and say go for it. Do you know what I mean? It's exactly the same as any other video that's made. So you're seeing the best parts. Those best parts, let's say, are the best parts because it's somebody's fantasy. It's not supposed to be something that you can do every day with your partner. If you could do those things every day to your partner, well, porn wouldn't exist, would it? So, unfortunately, okay, it's cool to watch. Yes, it is. There's cool things you see, you learn cool things. It's not like no one's not watched porn. I've watched porn myself. But is it a reality what you see and what you on there? No, it's not a reality.
Yeah.
You cannot do those things to your partner every day and think it's normal, unless there's certain things maybe. But a lot of what you see on there isn't like reality. And I think that's why it becomes an addiction. There's a lot of people in rehabs that have porn addictions.
Because it's so extreme.
It is extreme.
And because it's so it's the same way I like superheroes.
Yeah.
Because it's so abnormal
Yes.
and it's so,
Yes.
different, and no way that
Thank
it
God
can
you're
be.
superheroes.
Yeah. Thank goodness I went for superheroes and not porn. But essentially, I like Batman because it is so cool.
Yes.
It's never going to happen in real life.
No.
And the same way that's why I like superheroes, people like porn, is because of, this extremeness,
Don't
whatever
ask me
of
about
it.
English.
That was terrible English
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah, it is that, because it's unrealistic, like the rest of the social medias, addictions. And addiction is an unrealistic thing. If it was that real and it was that normal to be doing in your everyday life, wouldn't everyone be an addict? Wouldn't cocaine be normal? Wouldn't it be legal? Wouldn't you'd be able to order it like you order a bottle of water? And if it was that real and that realistic in society, everyone would be doing it. There's a reason people aren't doing it. There's a reason that there are millions and millions and millions of people in recovery fighting for the same thing, to fight for themselves back, because it's unrealistic. You cannot live that life, because if you were able to live that life, we'd all be doing it. You can't go and spend that amount of money, drink that amount of booze, toxify your body like that. I don't know what that word is, but put that much toxins into your body and still survive. It's unrealistic to do that to your body. And drugs aren't made of a fancy sugar and a coffee, and drugs are made from dirty chemicals. That is what drugs are. That is, at least we can say maybe alcohol are made in better ways. Drugs made from dirty chemicals.
Unless you're buying the Breaking Bad
What's that?
meth. The show, Breaking Bad. Have you never watched
no.
Breaking Bad? So the guy was a school teacher, but he cooks his own meth.
Yeah.
But it's the purest meth that anyone can find.
Well, thank God for him, yeah.
But
At
yeah, that's
least,
what I'm saying. Unless it's made by him, it's dirty.
Yeah. A lot of people, like I watch dope shows and like all these drug shows all the time. And
It's just a glorifying drug usage and everything completely.
yeah. In fact, I was watching, there's a new thing on Netflix now at the moment called Painkiller, on oxycodone, or I don't know how to say it probably. I think it's oxycodone. And when I had my foot up, they said to me, like, because it was all my nerves and whatever, they said I have to take oxy. I was like, fuck, I can't take oxy. I'm a recovering drug addict. Like, how do you honestly say I can take oxy? The doctor said, well, is that or pethidine? Like, and I was like, I can't take either of them. Like, I cannot do it. I'm a drug addict.
The pain then.
Yeah. So they said I could take one. I had to take the one pill of oxy while I was still in hospital, because I literally wouldn't be able to move. And he split it in half. So he gave me half and half. And that night I was messaging my mom, I was messaging my boyfriend. I was like, oh my God, I love you guys. I don't think I've ever felt so happy in my life. And then obviously I didn't have it, because I was only allowed the half and half for that day that I was in hospital. The day I came out and went back home, I was so angry. I was screaming. I was suicidal. And I was like, and this is the fuck up of why you realize you're not doing the stuff you're doing anymore. It was hectic.
Was it tough? Was it because you say you were suicidal and you're angry or whatever? Was it easy for you to be like, well, this is how I am when I take the stuff? No?
Yes.
Or was it, that was kind of nice?
No, it wasn't nice, because I knew I didn't want to be there. I put on such a fight not to take it, and they said to me, Panada's not going to work. I've got the choice
pain's
between
too
the two.
extreme.
Yeah, it's between the two, and morphine makes me like I scratch. I look like a cockroach from morphine, so I couldn't take it. So it was just, I had to take one of the two, and it was like it was horrifying. I knew I didn't want to touch it again. And this Painkiller thing that I'm watching on Netflix is all about oxy, and it's basically, when they created it, it was to create something for humans to take that would take over the world, to fulfill happiness and desire of sadness, and bring you to that medium of enjoyment and desire and happiness in your life. And that's where oxy's made of codeine, morphine, and heroin, and all of those things contain opiates, which is heroin.
Yeah.
And people don't even realize that like morphine, codeine, all of those things are opiates at the end of the day.
Well, I think they use more as drugs now than they are used in hospitals.
100%, yeah. So it was, I started watching that Painkiller thing, and I said to my boyfriend, I was like, if I could ever say I hate drugs more watching this program, I fucking hate them. He was like, thank God.
Yeah.
He was happy. But yeah, no.
Tyler, I want to
just
say thank you so much for coming on.
No,
I
thank
truly appreciate it. I hope, well, I know for a fact that someone's going to find more than one person.
we hope.
Well, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And if they've got to this point, thank you for watching and thank you for coming.
Okay, thank you. You're the best.
Cheers, guys.